All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever looked at a GCSE maths paper and just wondered what on earth the examiner is actually looking for? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're cracking the code. We're taking a real question, and we're going to break it down piece by piece, using the official mark scheme as our roadmap to see exactly how you get every single mark.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to learn to speak the examiner's language by decoding the mark scheme. Then we'll dive into Part A and Part B of the question, 1 mark at a time. After that, we'll look at all the possible right answers, and finally, we'll wrap up with the key strategies you can use in any exam. And this right here is our secret weapon. This isn't just a list of answers. Think of it as the examiner's official playbook. It tells them exactly where to give out points, what methods count, and even what to do if you make a common slip-up. Understanding this is absolutely key.
Okay, first things first. Before we can even touch the problem, we need to learn the language. A mark scheme is full of these little abbreviations, and honestly, knowing what they mean is half the battle.
Here are the big ones you'll see all the time. M stands for a method mark. You get this for showing you know the right formula or procedure. P is a process mark. It's kind of similar, but it's for a key step in a bigger problem-solving question. Then there's A for accuracy. That's for getting the numbers spot on, and these last two are super important. OE means or equivalent, which gives you a bit of flexibility. But CAL, that means correct answer only. No wiggle room at all.
Right, let's jump into the question. Part A is a classic 3-mark compound interest problem. We're going to see exactly how you build up those 3 marks, one step at a time, using that playbook we just talked about. So, how do we get our hands on that very first mark? Well, it all comes down to showing one single essential step right there on your paper. And this is it. This is exactly what they're looking for. The mark scheme says you get an M1, one method mark, just for showing the calculation for the first year. And see that little OE again? Or equivalent. That means if you showed the same thing in a slightly different way, you're still getting that mark. Easy as that.
Okay, 1 mark in the bag. The second mark builds directly on that. It's all about showing the examiner that you have the complete roadmap to get to the final answer.
Now, check this out, because the wording here is really telling. It says an M1 is for the complete method. See how the number 4608 is in quotation marks? That means they expect you to use the answer from your previous step. In fact, the guidance says if you get this mark, it's assumed you've earned the first one too. So showing this whole process is absolutely vital.
So, you've shown your work for the first step, and you've laid out the complete method. That's 2 marks locked in. The last one for Part A is the A1, the accuracy mark. This is basically the reward for pulling off your plan perfectly. All right, let's switch gears to Part B. This one's also worth 3 marks, but notice they're P marks, process marks. That's because it's a multi-step problem, and they want to see that you can connect the different parts of the calculation together. And just like before, the road to full marks starts with that first step. The examiner is looking for one specific calculation that tells them, yep, this person knows where to start.
There you have it. You get the first process mark, P1, just for writing down this division. Seriously, even if you get completely stuck after this, putting this on the page gets you a mark. It proves you've identified the right starting point.
So, you've got that first calculation down. The next process mark comes from showing how to use that result. You're basically showing them the next piece of the puzzle. And this is so important. The mark here is for the process. See the number in quotes again? That's your result from the last step. This means even if you made a tiny mistake in that first calculation, as long as you use your own answer correctly in this next stage, you can still get this P1 mark. It's rewarding your thinking, not just your arithmetic.
Okay, so we've seen how to get all the method and process marks, but what about the final answer? What numbers do you actually need to write down on that answer line to get those final all-important accuracy marks?
This table tells us so much. Look at Part A. The answer is 4775.38, but they also accept 0.37. That's a little bit of flexibility for rounding. They even have a special case mark for a common error if you didn't get any method marks. But then look at Part B. The answer is 26, and the guidance is CAL, correct answer only. That means 26 is the only answer that gets the mark. Period.
So, what have we actually learned here? What are the big strategic takeaways from looking inside the examiner's playbook that can help you score higher across the board?
Now, this is probably the biggest lesson of all. For Part A, the accuracy mark is flexible. They'll accept a slightly different answer from rounding. But for Part B, It's cow, correct answer only. This tells you something really important about the question. It's a signal that for this particular process, there is only one precise answer. Sometimes close enough is good enough, and sometimes it has to be perfect. So, let's boil this all down into a clear strategy. Number 1, always show your first step. It's often an easy mark. 2, write down your full method before you start punching numbers into a calculator. 3, pay attention to whether an answer needs to be exact. That cow is a massive clue. And 4, remember, even starting a correct process earns you marks, so never ever leave a question blank if you have even a rough idea of where to begin.
Look, at the end of the day, a mark scheme isn't some big secret. It's a rule book. And once you understand the rules, you're not just guessing anymore. You're playing the game with a strategy. We've cracked the code for this one question, but the lessons here, they apply to your entire paper. So the only real question left is, how are you going to use this playbook to your advantage?